What's up, guys? Hey, welcome to another episode of the College Prep Chat. Today, I'm joined on the line with Andrew Cohen, who's a recruiting coordinator out on the East Coast. Very fired up to have him. Going to give us a little bit different perspective, um, at least looking at it from the recruiting standpoint, where we've typically been talking about from a performance standpoint. But I think this is a very crucial thing and something that I think a lot of high school athletes really miss on when they go into the recruiting process, at least if they have ambitions to play in the college level. So without further ado, Coach Cohen, man, thank you for jumping on.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Excited to be on today. So I'm Andrew Cohen, and I'm a former college football coach of 22 years. I coached at the Division One, Two, and Three levels, schools like Columbia University, Bucknell, Stony Brook, Fordham, Hamilton, and Bowdoin. So I've been around the block. But I started my business 8 years ago because honestly, I find there's a huge need for families in the football recruiting process. There's a lot of information out there that's inaccurate, and it's very difficult if you don't have great contacts to be able to reach out to people. But what I do is I use my contacts, my knowledge. My internship was being a college coach for 22 years. So very excited to share information with student athletes and their families today. And you can always reach out to me anytime if you have questions or if you feel you need help in the recruiting process. My cell number is 570-428-2872. And my website is getrecruitedconsulting.com. So I appreciate you having me on today, and let's get right into this.
Absolutely. One thing that I think is really important to mention on the front end is there's kind of two types of recruiting services. And there's kind of the big box chop shops that are just going to send out Excel sheets and email blast coaches. And then there's the recruiting coaches who actually have good contacts and who are going to use those contacts to get you recruited. And when you're talking to a potential recruiting service, such as Coach Cohen's, you want to make sure that you're asking them, how they contact the coaches and what methods that they're going to use to get you in front of the coaches. Because if they're just spam emailing a bunch of coaches, I won't name companies, but if they're just going to spam email a bunch of coaches, that's just not going to get the job done for you. So you want to make sure that you're working with an individual like Coach Cohen who's going to help you get in front of it because they've got the contacts in the background that's going to be respected from these college coaches.
I think, by the way, you're 100% right. I was just on the phone with a mom today, and I said, I don't want to talk about any other company, but if you're going to put money into someone, you need to make sure that they have contacts, but they're going to use them as well. They need to be calling the colleges. They need to be texting the colleges. They need to be direct message them on Twitter. They need to go at all avenues. And that's what we do at Get Recruited. When I started, 8 years ago in the business, I said, I want to be unique. I truly want to help these kids. And I think the only way, especially today with these colleges getting so many emails, you got to directly reach out to them. You got to call them. So thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. I think it's an integrity thing. If you're going to sell a service, it better be a service that's going to get them to where they want to go.
I'll tell you what, the other thing is just, an accurate, honest film evaluation. So you have a game plan that fits your profile athletically and academically. You get a lot of these kids, they reach out, and when I tell them they're Division Two and they're not Division One, and then they don't want to hire me, but that's okay. I don't want to lead families on, but you need to go to the right places. If you're spending money on going to all these camps and the level's too high for you, very honestly, you're going to waste a lot of time, money, and effort, and it's going to be very frustrating.
Absolutely. And, to speak to that point, we have a kid from our program who has gone on to play at the college level, and he went to every Division I camp that you could possibly imagine, but he was a D3 guy. Just academically and athletically, he was a D3 guy, and the process was just extremely frustrating for him because somebody had put in his ear that he's this level of player, but in all actuality, he was just not, right. And great kid, great athlete, but there's tiers to this, and if somebody is not going to be honest with you, they're going to lead you down a very frustrating path.
There's no question. I mean, with our service, we're talking to our clients every week or every other week. So you really need to be 100% upfront with one another, and it's just a shame that certain people are telling kids that they're a much higher level than they really are. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you don't want to do that.
Yep. All right. Well, let's dive into this question. Now, one thing that I was thinking about as as a prep for this call was, what in your opinion are things that kids need to do in their 9th and 10th grade year to put them in a good situation to be a recruitable athlete as they get into their 11th and 12th grade year?
Great question. I think number one, they have to do well academically.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not only to get into schools, but to get into the best schools academically possible. That's one. Two, it's obviously important that they have a structured lifting and running program. However, there's got to be flexibility. And if you're waiting till you're in 11th grade to do flexibility on a regular basis, I think that's a big mistake. Usually the biggest difference between like a Division I kid, and I'm generally speaking here, and a Division II kid, usually it's height. And then from there, just athleticism and flexibility. You'll hear coaches say, this kid's tight, this kid's stiff. And really, by the time they're a senior in high school, it's there's not going to be a lot of changes with that. So I would say, again, academics, number one. Then I would say your overall strength and conditioning program needs to be great. I would say starting to have a presence on social media. I'm sure you all know that Twitter is the number one for that in football. Having a highlight film that's posted. I would not have it unless it's varsity film. That's my opinion. And then, start gradually following college coaches that you're interested in that you think are realistic. But I'm going to offer everyone on this today a free film evaluation and a recruiting consultation, because I'm just such a big believer that you have to start somewhere. So if you're in 9th or 10th, we can tell you, hey, this is where you are now. If you improve A, B, and C, then you have a chance to be at a higher level. Now, once you're in your junior season, that's your big season. So it's about, hey, this is where you are as a junior now. Throughout the season and the off season, again, you have to do A, B, and C to give you the best chance possible to be successful. So, but 9th and 10th graders, unless they're in the top 1% in the country, typically are not getting offers. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the recruiting as much as you're worrying about development. We have plenty of clients that are 9th and 10th graders, but I'm very upfront. I'll help you decide on what camps to go to. I'll help you structure your programs. I'll help mentor you. But the recruiting process, if you're a top kid, it happens after your sophomore year. If you're a really good kid, it could happen in 9th, but very few. You agree with that, Coach?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think we get a lot of kids, and the kids that come at least to our service, they have the ambition to play in college. And, they see with the social media world, when a 9th grader in some other state or with some other team gets offered, they see it because, somebody that they know shares it or likes it. And they get that expectation that, in 9th grade that they should be getting these offers. And that's just not the case. It takes time. And the difference physically between a 9th grader and a 12th grader is incredibly wide.
No question. My thing is, if they're offered as a 9th grader, I'm going to keep it really simple. They are either extraordinarily fast, or extraordinarily big. Yep. One or the other, because they don't even have varsity film yet. They're getting projected. There's a kid in Long Island. His last name is Carey. He's got like 15 offers. He's 14 years old, but he's like 6'4", 6'5", 250, and he can run. So they're going to project him. That's just a quick example.
And one thing too, with if a school's offered you in 9th grade, the chance that coach is still going to be at that college, especially if we're looking a little bit higher level, the chance that coach is still at that college is very slim. The stat, and this is a little bit of an older stat. An incoming freshman at the college level had a 17% chance of graduating with the same head coach who recruited him. So if you're getting offered in 8th and 9th grade, like that's not going to be your coach, right? So if you're looking, okay, maybe I want to go here, that's not going to be the case by the time you're actually going to walk onto a college campus.
Yeah, I would say, most of the recruiting is by the assistant coaches, and the head coaches are like the guys that want to get them to sign on the line, right? The dotted line. But assistants move around more than head coaches.
Yes.
And I think you look at where they are, like you look at Ivy League coaches, for instance, they try to be there for a long time because those are great jobs. They pay pretty well. They get to coach great kids. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it really depends. I hope you don't feel I'm getting off the subject, but
not at all.
Them staying at a school depends on, you got to ask yourself, would you stay there? Like, Coach Saban's a heck of a coach at Alabama, and he knows, hey, he's got a good situation. It's the University of Alabama, so he doesn't leave. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I guess diving in, we've touched a little bit on the social media side of things. As an athlete is progressing through their high school career, what level of presence should they have on a platform like Twitter? And what type of stuff should they be sharing with college coaches?
For one, they want to follow the correct college coaches that are there, that are realistic. I mean, it doesn't hurt if you follow someone, but if you're a Division III kid and you're following Division I guys, they're probably not going to follow you back. But I would say you're posting your updated film, okay, and then from there you're direct messaging it to the coaches that you're interested in, and then from there everyone should have multiple workout films. If you want to get a scholarship, then you're going to either have to be at their camp for the most part, or they're going to have to see you do some specific drills. So if you're at Division I level, for instance, there's a lot of schools out there that will say, hey, I want to see him change direction. So I want to see agility. I want to see some specific drill, position-specific drills. And then if a guy can slam dunk a basketball, especially if he's not 6'5" and he's now 6 foot or shorter, it shows explosiveness, ability to transfer your weight. And those are skills that they want to see. It's no different than the vertical jump, which is testing your explosiveness. So I think you have some videos of showing speed, showing agility, position specific. And if you can do anything jumping, like slamming the ball or showing that you have a high vertical, I think that can definitely be positive. But you're not, sometimes in talking to different coaches, and I feel this way when I coached, like, I don't want to get, hey, I had a banana today for breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, it should be something that someone says, huh, that's pretty good. That's pretty exciting. If not, you're watering it down, and at some point they're not going to respond. And two, they're going to think you're kind of more involved in this for sales purposes than you are for just getting yourself recruited.
Absolutely.
It can come across as a negative if you're doing a little too much.
Yeah, I know one thing. The guy who's kind of in the background here is a receivers coach, and one thing he does for all of his guys is he gets drone footage of the receivers running the tree. Because you get a kid from a school that just runs a triple option, right? And you're going to run 2 routes. At least most high school kids, they run 2 or 3 routes, right? And he puts together videos of everybody running the whole route tree, which I think is so important because it shows that a kid can do it all. And I think, every position having some form of a workout video is extremely important. And, to your point about the explosiveness, like, we've got a kid who he can do a standing backflip at 6'1", 230, right? And that's like something that is extremely impressive. And I think if you can highlight your abilities to do that type of stuff, that's just going to kind of at least get them to open up your huddle film and dive a little bit deeper into you.
For sure. Like, I have an FCS coach that had a center that was 6'1.5", 300, which they don't usually like to take kids under 6'3".
Yep.
But he said he's strong enough, he had long enough arms, and he could slam dunk a basketball at 300 pounds. So he was really explosive. That was that was the final point that they took the young man. So yeah. And you know how it works though. Everyone has a different criteria. It's like picking your girlfriend or your wife. Everyone has a different, I want blonde, I want a brunette. It's the same thing in recruiting. Some offensive line coaches, hey, it's all size. Some it's flexibility. Some it's all. And then from there, it's no different at receiver. You obviously, they all want the kids to be fast, explosive, strong, great hands, body control, all those things. But you also find that, besides the FBS Power 5 schools, once you start going to FCS and then 2 and then 3, they have to make a decision of what are they okay with a kid not having, what skill not having. And that's what I did. I was a Division III head coach, and I'm like, what are the criteria for each position that we had to have? Because if they have everything as a Division III coach, there's no way you're getting them.
Yeah.
So you have to make that decision that, hey, I would take a nose guard if he was 5'10", if he was explosive, had a motor, and played with great leverage. I'd be okay with taking him. But I wouldn't care if he was 6'3", 260. If he couldn't bend, I wasn't taking him. So
absolutely,
not everyone does that, but I think the good programs definitely have an identity, and then they follow through with what they recruit for what they want in their positions.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit on, the recruiting landscape has changed a lot with transfer portal, the rise in the presence of JUCO programs, and a lot of colleges taking less high school guys than they have in the previous years. What are some things that you can suggest for a kid who maybe isn't getting recruited or hasn't gotten an opportunity, but he still has that ambition to play in college?
So first of all, let's make sure they're looking at the right schools. Part of
Mm-hmm.
not getting responses could be you're not looking at the right schools. So that's the first one. From there, what are they really doing to get reached out to? Hey, I post my film. Yeah, but who's really watching that? You know what I mean? Or I email it. Well, who's really opening emails today? So, let's be honest now, this is a time that I could talk a little bit more about Get Recruited Consulting. I'm going to tell you what
Feel
we do,
free.
and then those
Dive
are
in.
things, if you think you could do it on your own, then you can do it. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call the schools directly, and that's what you have to do. I have 2,500 cells. I have every work number on every coach in the country, and I have every email. But still, even me, I've built relationships with more and more coaches all over the country because we give them kids. I mean, we've sent kids to California, we've sent kids to school in Wyoming. I mean, everywhere. So, but you have to be willing to track down these coaches because half the time the problem is you're not getting evaluated. So direct
Mm-hmm.
messaging them on Twitter helps. Calling them at work, if you can get a cell from a friend, from someone on the coach, that's a good way of getting them to respond. But just all you can ask for is them evaluating you. From there, I can get our players evaluated and they trust what I have to say, but they are going to make those decisions for themselves. It is a business. And if they're not successful at recruiting, they will not win. If they don't win, they will be fired and not have a job. So the guys I know well, I could say, hey, you really need to take this kid if I know them well. If I don't know them really well, and someone says that, even if it's your coach, they're going to take you as a salesperson, and then they're going to lose interest. So I think I said a lot. I hope that's helpful, but you have to be on an all-out assault to get your film evaluated by the right people.
I like that all-out assault. There's one thing we try and talk to our kids about is you got to be active in this process instead of being passive. Just posting your huddle and tagging some coaches. That's not going to get the job done. You've got to be very active, and I love that saying, that all-out assault.
So we tell people we hunt down the college coaches, and we really do. But I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 tips on Twitter that can help. So the problem with Twitter sometimes is you follow a college coach, they don't follow you back, right? So one of the things that we're doing is we just unfollow them and then follow them back. And you find they will then eventually follow you back. Mm-hmm. That's one simple thing to do. The other thing is you're reaching out to school X, they're not following you back, because that is a problem, because then they can't even get your message. So I would start commenting on their posts. Yeah. They comment, they have a game and they're saying they won. Hey, great job, coach. Great win for you guys, or whatever. Or they mention something, it's someone's birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Billy, whatever. So I think those are 2 simple things that can help. I do think that can be frustrating, is getting people on Twitter and they're not following you back. So again, you have to follow what you should. I'm sure everyone knows this. This is the last hint, but sometimes it's hard, finding a coach on Twitter. So what I do is I can put Andrew Cohen, football coach, on Twitter, or Andrew Cohen, Sacramento State football coach, on Twitter, and their Twitter will come up, because you want to have your computer on with the names of the college coaches. So you have school X there, and they have 12 coaches. And what you do is you look at all their, you search all of their Twitter addresses like that. And then I would be sending a brief message to all of them with your basic contact information, your academics, and obviously your film link. You don't need a big song and dance. They don't want to read too much. They get too many of them. Be short and to the point. Tell them that you're interested and you'd love to hear what you think of your film and what are the next steps.
I like it, man. I think all this stuff is very, very actionable things that a high school kid can do. And, I think one of the biggest things about this is getting to a college to play college sports, if you do not hit the genetic lottery, getting to the college level is a very challenging thing. And just like with anything, right? Just with coming to a gym like mine, you're going to get bigger and stronger. Going to a position specific coach, you're going to get more dialed in with the skills and techniques and get a PhD in football. But if you want to get to the college level, and if you really, really want to make it happen for yourself, you've got to get it with a guy like you, because it's going to expedite that process. And just like with anything, if you're not being coached and mentored through it, it's going to be a much more challenging path for you as you kind of pursue that dream of playing college football.
You got to have someone that actually knows their stuff. Like Coach and I didn't talk about questions. I said, just throw them at me. I don't want to prepare. I want to, that way you can just be really honest and just right to the point. I'm pretty passionate about this. I probably come across that way,
Absolutely.
but it's fun. But I'm here to give information. I'm not here to hide information from kids. And hey, if I give that sauce away, then they're gonna do it on their own. I don't care. The bottom line is, I want to have a successful business, and I do, but I want to help kids most importantly. And it's a shame when I see certain kids that aren't getting recruited when they should be recruited.
Absolutely.
And it goes the other way too. Let's be honest. There's kids out there that coach that you're like, how's he getting an offer from school so and so? And sometimes I don't know how it works, but hey, it's their choice as a college.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great way to kind of wrap this up. And as we do it, Coach, please give us a rundown of where everybody can get in touch with you. And I think that anybody watching this should take advantage of that opportunity for the consultation with you and the film review. So, Coach, give us another rundown on where they can get in touch with you.
Okay, so first of all, right on Twitter, it's get with a capital G _ recruited with a capital R. My cell phone is 570-428-2872. I live outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. My phone is on from 8 in the morning till about 9 p.m. So, and that's what I do. Okay. I don't, you can have my email, andrew.cohen@getrecruitedconsulting.com. And then my website is getrecruitedconsulting.com. But you're welcome to call me. You're welcome to text me. You're welcome to reach out to me on Twitter. I will post today on Twitter. I'll just post a free, my calendar with a free film evaluation and recruiting consultation where you come with a parent prepared. Ask me any questions you want. I'll tell you what level I think your film is and how you can attain being a player at a higher level. What are the things you need to do?
So. I love it, man. Honest review is the best way to get to where you want to go. So, Coach, man, thank you so much for jumping on here. And this was a lot of fun. Great to talk with you. And I look forward to continuing to discuss this with you kind of as we move forward.
I really appreciate it, Coach. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for your time. And I look forward to talking to everyone in the near future. All right.
Good deal.